So let's have a look then how the SMTA Scottish Citroen C1 Cup lines up then. Row 1, Mark Nisbet is going to lead the field off with Andrew Davidson in second place. Sam Corson in third alongside Kyle Nisbet resuming their little battle. Finlay Brunton starts down in fifth position with Ross Dunn in sixth. Row 4 is going to be Callum Conway in seventh position with Thomas Comer in eighth. Row 5 is going to be Rich Flett in ninth, Aidan Wilson in 10th. Paul Winfield starts on row 6 alongside James Hitchin, Lazo Benet and Gordon Dundee on row 7, and then Ian Cochrane at the back of the grids. So the cars making their way round the tri-oval now, round the hairpin. And a little known fact that you know, back in the day here at Knockhill, that little loop that you can see right in front of you was popularly used by the stock cars when they were up here, and it was, I think it was about 10-15 years ago that they stopped doing that, but it was a very, very popular attraction to Knockhill here. Another popular attraction is that gloriously handsome man that is down there on the grid there, standing right beside Andy Alston.
I was going to say, that wasn't me you're talking about there, was it? So there we are, action almost about to get underway in the Scottish C1 Cup. The cars are just making their way on to their grid positions. Let's get a quick chat with the man who will be leading the way on the inside line as well. It is Kyle Nisbet in the 117 car. And oh, beg your pardon. Well, you'll be leading the way in the Nisbet class anyway. What's the kind of what's the expectations going into this one here? I think they're in a good position here.
I have indeed. I got lucky with getting pole due to the draw, so just hoping we can make it stick. Just got to get a good start and see where we go from here, eh?
Absolutely. Best of luck. Thanks for speaking to us. And we've got the other Nisbet car there, currently in the second row of the grid, car number 17, alongside the number 68 of Sam Corson there, lining up on the grid as well, into his second season here in the C1 Cup as well, after a very impressive debut campaign. And the cars are just about all in their positions now, and we'll get underway in a few moments' time. So it's time to hand back to Dave Christie in the commentary box.
Thanks very much, Andy, and great to hear from the grid there ahead of our penultimate race of the day. And a huge thank you, as always, to all of the track staff here at Knockhill Racing Circuit, as well to all of the wonderful volunteer Orange Army who give up so much of their time at the weekends to make sure that these drivers can go out and have a little bit of fun on the track, and that we get to enjoy that little bit of fun on the live stream here. But 5-second board is held out. The SMTA Scottish Citroen C1 Cup is a way to build to a crescendo here. The final race for them of the afternoon, and it's a quick turnaround. Lights out, away we go. Nisbet gets a fairly even start there with the number 70, Andrew Davidson, trying to get the run round the outside of turn 1. I think he's got the run. I think he's going to be able to make it work. And we're side-by-side contact, and the two of them go side-by-side. The car goes speeding off, and there's chaos and mayhem at the second race of the SMTA Citroen C1 Cup. And as cool and as calm as you wanted it to be, it was never going to work. Andrew Davidson trying to go around the outside of a car on the first corner. Yeah, that's probably not the best solution there, but again, the wonderful thing about this is, other than cost them about 40 seconds on the car, these cars are built like tanks. They'll still get going. They'll be back into the race here. Anyway, now that all that drama has kicked off, my goodness me, that was just nuts going into Duppa's Dip there. We've got a car being forced out onto the grass there. You can hear the tyre squeal of all the cars as they make their way into the hairpin there, as that is the number 24 making its way up the inside there. And my goodness me, that was yeah, that was Ian Wilson making a move and a half there. And there we go. We've got on-screen graphics, no expense spared here on the live stream, and a huge thank you to poor Lester Forbes, who I swear to God has been frantically working behind the scenes, swearing at trying to get this live timing synced up, but it's finally working. So a huge thank you, as always, to the team behind the scenes at AJK Television for this awesome presentation this afternoon. Right, let's get back down to business then. Let's focus on what we've got. You're kidding me. You're not telling me the 68 Sam Corson's in the lead of this race. Right, he's going to be very, very happy with this then. So it's Sam Corson from Ross Dunn, from Finlay Brunton, and then you've got Thomas Comer up into fourth position there, and then that means that Rich Flett down in 5th as well in that other little battle. You've also got Callum Conway involved in that one. So this is just, I mean, this has turned the entire race on its head. Fantastic stuff. Sam Corson, though, streaks away to about 0.7 of a second ahead of Ross Dunn and Finlay Brunton. Given the pace of those second and third cars, I wouldn't expect that gap to last too long, because they are quite formidable challengers, certainly for this race win. But look at Finlay Brunton, tries to look around the outside at McIntyre's. Ross Dunn runs a little bit wide here. Brunton wants to take that position, and remember, it was just pipped at the post on race number 1 here, so we've still got 10 laps left to go in this race. All of that madness happened on the first corner of the first lap of the final race for these C1s here. But yeah, awesome fun and frivolity that we're seeing unfolding in front of us. So here's how the order looks just now then. Sam Corson in the lead of the race from Ross Dunn. Finlay Brunton in 3rd place, Thomas Comer in 4th, Callum Conway is in 5th position, Rich Flett is down in 6th, Paul Winfield in 7th, Lazo Benet somehow getting from the back of the grid up into 8th position. So yeah, what a run from him. James Hitchin in 9th, Gordon Dundee in 10th, Ian Wilson in 11th place, Ian Cochrane in 12th, 13th place for Andrew Davidson, Kyle Nisbet in 14th, Mark Nisbet in 15th place. Right. So Sam Corson is doing everything that he can to try and hold on to this lead from the stalking figures of the number 1 car of Ross Dunn, as well as Finlay Brunton as well, as they come through the compression at Butchers over the hill at the chicane. And Brunton really pushing Dunn to try and make this happen here. They're wanting to try and get caught up to the back of Sam Corson here, but it does look like Brunton is more concerned with trying to get past that number 1 car in front. Maybe he feels like he's got a little bit more pace than that car in front, but certainly roaring down the back straight. Roaring, probably the most the most misappropriated words for these little C1s. They're definitely not going to be roaring. Anyway, the only thing is roaring is the squeal of those tyres as they struggle to get any sort of grip around those corners as well. And they certainly add an extra 25 miles an hour to how fast you feel like you're going, as the number 17 there of Kyle Nisbet coming under pressure there. A little bit of door banging there from the number 70 of Andrew Davidson. I think it's safe to say there's no love lost between these two right now. And you can see the number 70 looking in the mirrors. Oh, this is starting to get a little bit nasty. I saw exactly what happened there, and yeah, I did not like that at all. From what I see, and again, I can only commentate on what I saw here. The number 70 was looking in his rear view mirror, waiting for the number 17 there, and wow, that was yeah, that's a bit sketchy watching that happen, especially given these cars are still at about, what, 80, 90 miles going down here. There's obviously a little bit of unhappiness between these two drivers right now. But certainly the number 17 manages to streak away there, and Kyle Nisbet gets going, and that means that Andrew Davidson is getting sent backwards here. And I think the blue mist has descended a little bit in that number 70 car, and you can see, we see it so many times as well, and I've done it myself behind the wheel of the very similar Peugeot 107. When you get, when the red mist comes over you, It's all very well saying you drive in anger, but you overdrive the car, and that is contact onto the rear of the number 17 there. You can hear the spectators a little bit dismayed as well. This is... Yeah, I'm really not enjoying where this is going, unless these two are actually friends in real life and this is just absolute bants, in which case, yeah, okay, maybe. But yeah, this is a little bit too much bumping and grinding, especially when we see that the number 70 of Andrew Davidson has got his novice cross on the back of that car there. So, yeah, interesting times for sure. That means that Kyle Nisbet and Mark Nisbet side by side on the track here, fighting it out here. This is going to be the run down into to McIntyre's here, and yeah, this is interesting to say the least. We've got 7 laps left to go, and yeah, it's safe to say that not what we expected. Meanwhile, Sam Corson now just 0.3 of a second ahead of Sam Corson, and Sam Corson takes the lead of the race. So Sam Corson ahead of Ross Dunn, ahead of Finlay Brunton. I was away to say Sam Corson takes the lead of the race. He was in the lead of the race, but Ross Dunn on that last lap was actually leading, so it was Ross Dunn that took the lead of the race, and Sam Corson actually took it back from Ross Dunn there. So incredible scenes from your top 3, and of course if all hell breaks loose between Mark Nisbet and Andrew Davidson, we'll jump back to them and have a look at them. But for the moment, all our eyes are on this little battle here. As the two cars then coming nose to tail almost down in towards the hairpin here. And I wonder if it's going to be a late lunge from Ross Dunn. You can see the car squirreling under braking. Here we go again. This is wacky racist stuff right now as Davidson sent it up the inside. It butchers there, a little clunk into the car behind him of the number 70 there. And I think it's safe to say that maybe the stewards and race control are going to have a very interesting evening tonight, trying to decipher what on earth is going on with these cars here. But back to your race leaders then. Sam Corson, Ross Dunn and Finlay Brunton all nose to tail this battle for first, second and third place right now. And fascinating to see how this unfolds. We've only got 5 laps to go, so this is just disappeared in the blink of an eye, and if you think this is bad, just wait until you see the third Mini Cooper race of the day. That is usually elbows out to the absolute extreme. It's comparable usually with the third race of a BTCC weekend, the third and final race, where it's usually a little bit overly scrappy. But anyway, Sam Corson ahead of Ross Dunn here, ahead of Finlay Brunton. And down into the hairpin there, you can see Sam Corson again, the car just wiggling as it tries to get onto the brakes as late as he possibly can. But this is a brilliant run from Sam Corson, holding that that car of Ross Dunn behind him to account there. And I think it's safe to say that the Davidson-Nisbet battle is well and truly over. That gap now 4 seconds, and I think that Kyle Nisbet has just decided enough is enough. He just wants to finish the race. So we focus on the lead battle then with 4 laps left to go here. And into McIntyre. Sam Corson, of course, no stranger to a lot of these drivers, because about maybe say 8 out of the 16 of the drivers here, all very, very regular competitors on the SMRC esports platform as well. So Sam Corson, I believe, actually won his seat in the first season of that SMRC C1 Championship because of the performance that he did, winning one of the championships there. Anyway, back to Ryan Dunn. Look at how much he's looking here. He has a little look onto the inside. We saw this last lap round. He's trying to force a mistake here from Sam Corson there, and Ryan Dunn gets a good run out of that final corner, but again isn't close enough. But this is we've seen this so many times through a 12-lap race where the car in second place is almost setting that car up in front for failure. It's, you know, jinking to the left or jinking to the right lap after lap, and then on the final lap it'll just send it up on the alternative corner. But I think Finlay Brunton might be wanting to try and do exactly the same to Ross Dunn and get a little bit of revenge. as the cars go in towards McIntyre's. That's a little bit of a breathing room for Sam Corson then. 0.2 of a second is the gap, opening up very, very slightly. We've got 3 laps left to go here for the SMTA Scottish Citroen C1 Cup. Sam Corson leading Ross Dunn, leading Finlay Brunton. And Thomas Comer in 4th, Callum Conway in 5th, Rich Flett in 6th, Ian Wilson in 7th, Paul Winfield in 8th, Lazo Benet in 9th, with James Hitchin in 10th, Mark Nisbet in 11th place, Gordon Dundee in 12th, and then Andrew Davidson in 13th position ahead of Ian Cochrane and Kyle Nisbet. Here we go then. This is where things are going to start getting a little bit shady, ladies and gentlemen. We've got 2 laps left to go, and that was Ross Dunn getting an amazing run out of that final corner. Do you remember about half an hour ago where I said this track is such a momentum-based track, and Ross Dunn has just proved it. You're going to still get the 2 cars going side by side into that first corner, and Sam Corson does it. He keeps the foot in, holds the car around the outside. Exemplary work there from Sam Corson. That throws Ross Dunn back to the wheels of Finlay Brunton, and look at the pace that Brunton has got. He's going to want to get a little move done here as well. With only 2 laps left to go, it's now or never as Dunn looks to the inside. Ross Dunn can't quite make it happen. Sam Corson goes a little bit wide at Clarkson. This is going to be the run down to the hairpin then to start our final lap of the race, and this is everything that I wanted from the C1s, and this is everything that I was telling you about on the build up to the C1s here. Sam Corson again, the car weaving about a little bit, under braking. Dunn tries to get a better exit, but that is much better from Sam Corson. So that means that coming into the final lap then, Sam Corson is going to lead Ross Dunn from Finlay Brunton. And have a look behind there, because that is Thomas Comer. The 3 of them have lost so much time that Thomas Comer now fastest lap of the race. And this is where it all is poised on a knife edge. It's all going to come down to one mistake. It's all going to come down to one incident between any of the 3 of these drivers. Finlay Brunton trying to go around the outside of McIntyre's. That's not going to happen at all. Sam Corson gets a little bit of breathing room. That breathing room has completely evaporated as Ross Dunn right back onto the tail end of that car, taking a slightly different line through the chicane for the final time of Askin up into Clark Corner. It's going to have to be the hairpin. That's the only place left for Ross Dunn to try and make a move here, as Sam Corson out of Clark for the final time. The 2 of them on a drag race down to the final corner of the final lap of the race here at Knockhill. Ross Dunn makes a look to the outside. He's not going to do it. It's going to be through the hairpin for the final time. And there we go, the checker flag flies. Ross Dunn gets a good exit out the corner, not good enough. It's going to be Sam Corson to take the win. Ross Dunn in 2nd place. It's going to be Finlay Brunton in P3, Thomas Comer in P4. Callum Conway is going to finish in P5, Rich Flett in P6, Aidan Wilson with a brilliant 7th place there. Paul Winfield is going to finish in 8th position. 9th place for James Hitchin, Lazo Benet in 10th. Andrew Davidson somehow gets into P11 there. Mark Nisbet in P12. And then in 13th it's Gordon Dundee, Ian Cochrane and Kyle Nisbet round out your 15 finishing cars. But a very, very happy Sam Corson, and yet again I can guarantee when Andy Alston gets out there to have a chat with him, they're going to have the biggest smiles on their faces. Just a reminder about the newcomers as well. In the newcomers, we've got Aidan Wilson, Ian Cochrane, we've got Lazo Benet, Mark Nisbet and Paul Winfield. And I believe that means that Aidan Wilson, the number 24, is our leading newcomer. And that is, as someone who's watched Aidan racing in the SMRC Esports Console Championships, fantastic to see him taken to the grid in real life, jumping out of the car and into the Citroen C1. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your SMTA Scottish Citroen C1 Cup. And breathe. There we go. What a race that was. Everything you could possibly want. Chaos at turn 1. And a thrilling race that developed after that one as well. But the cars making their way rounds now to the holding area. They're going to make the left-hand turn into the paddock, and they're going to be weighted with bated breath by none other than our very own Andy Alston, who's there with the top three of the SMTA Scottish Citroen C1 Cup.
Yes, absolutely. The top three just making their way into the podium area now, led by that man there, car number 68, Sam Corzine, who takes the win in race number 2, and he is delighted with that result. Sam Corzine in his second season in the Scottish C1 Cup, and he signs off the first weekend in style. Sam, you must be absolutely delighted with that performance.
That was mega. I had to have like the widest C1 in the world there. Colin were on it, Dan was on it. Yeah, it was an amazing race. That was unreal. Felt like I was just defending the whole time. That was brilliant.
Yeah, and a great way to sign off your weekend as well. You must be on a high, and you'll be taking that confidence with you into the next event as well.
Amazing result today, so I'm really happy with that. Couldn't ask any better, so on to the next round now.
Excellent. Many congratulations, Sam, and well done out there today. That is our race winner for the second event here in the Scottish C1s. It was led by Sam Corzine. Second place man here, our reigning champion, Ross Dunn. Ross, it was great action throughout, and you pushed Sam all the way. And just talk us through that one. It was very entertaining to watch.
Yeah, again, starting at 6th with the reverse grid. It was a bit of a spin at the first corner, managed to avoid that and got him up to second. But again, that was another 12 laps of the first 3 or 4 nose to tail, and I think you've got to be really tactical as to where you try and pass here. If I made a move in Sam, I knew I had Finlay right behind me, and obviously Finlay's very good. He'll not take 2 chances to pass you. And yeah, it was just really down to that last final couple laps, just try and see if I could get a good line out the hairpin, and then just that run up to the straight. But no, first and a second, good start to the season. So, yep, hopefully more to come. Be good.
Great stuff, Ross. Thanks very much for speaking to us. Ross Dunn there, second place in race number 2, and he'll be very happy with how his weekend went overall. And again, you just see how close the action is between all of these drivers. You know, Finlay Brunton pushing them all the way as well. Let's get a quick catch up with Finlay Brunton. Of course, made his return to the Scottish C1 Cup this season, and he is very much on the pace, being congratulated by his teammates and his competitors as well. Finlay Brunton joins us now, and Finlay, you must be really pleased with how you've come back to the championship here. 2 podium finishes, and you'll be really delighted with that.
Yeah, really happy. Obviously 1 down from where I was in the last race, but you know, in the first race I made up 2 places, in this race I made up 2 places again. So it's obviously I've got the pace and I've got the racecraft to get through the pack. Just a tiny bit unlucky with the reverse grid there. Obviously the first one the C1s I've done, but it was good to get the experience of how that would work, you know, in a reverse grid race. Enjoyed the race. Ross got past me on the start, and I spoke to Ross before the race. Just said we need to get a head down. Let's, you know, fight for a podium if we're going to be fighting at all. So that's what we did. Didn't quite get as racy as what I thought I was going to do in the last couple of laps there. I think we were all just so fast that nobody was making a mistake or giving any opportunities for a pass to be done. So I think, you know, 3 or 4 laps ago I decided I wasn't going to make any moves unless it was a really obvious opportunity and just bring the car home on another podium. Good points on. I think I'm estimating second in the championship now behind Ross, so happy, man.
Absolutely great stuff. I just wanted to get your thoughts just quickly on the lottery that we've got for the grids in race number 2. Does that almost make qualifying even more important? It's already very important in the C1s as it is, but does that add an extra element into the mix, because you've got to qualify well, get the strong performance in the first race to put you in a prime position for the second one? Yeah,
I think it's got both. It makes qualifying more important and also a wee bit more forgiving in areas. Obviously, qualifying is the most important session of the C1s. If you do make those mistakes in qualifying, it was kind of game over for your whole weekend. That writes the weekend off. But now, Duncan, 2 seconds, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it gives you the opportunity to make the places up in race 1, get into the reverse grid, draw, and then get yourself further forward for race 2.
Absolutely.